A lot of people have been asking me questions over and over again. So I want to take this time to clarify some things so that people will be aware of, uh, of all these things that I will see in this video. First of all, let me start with the language of instruction. So if by now, I believe you might have noticed that when you're applying for some schools, let me say if you're applying for schools here in Portugal, whether for BSc or for MSc, you will see the one of the things you need to look out for is the language of instruction. Let me start with first degree, which is for bachelor's, MXc. For someone who wants to study bachelor's degree here in Portugal, language of instruction is very, very important because not all the schools here in Portugal have their BSc programs in English. For example, the University of Algarve in Faro, they don't have any English course for bachelor's at all. It's only a few schools here in Portugal that have BSc programs in English. For example, private schools. Another school again is Nova. They also have bachelor's programs in English. But one of the things is like some of the schools that have English programs, they're actually quite expensive. Expensive like how much? Like from 7,000 euros, 5,000, 4,000. All right. And again, some of these schools, they have something called entrance exam. When you apply for these schools, that's for bachelor's, first degree. When you apply for this, for any of the courses in BXc, at some time, let me say maybe at a later date, the school will inform you to come and take the entrance exam. And the entrance exam is actually online. So let's say, for example, you're going for maybe a computer science program, they're required to take physics, chemistry, math, English, and all of this thing. And if you're somebody who is not prepared for it, trust me, you end up losing that admission, because the entrance exam is one of the criteria to get admission in any of the programs you are applying for. These are some of the things you need to watch out for. For example, the Polytechnic of Lira, they have one program for bachelor's that is being taught in English, that is in multimedia. There are also some courses that other schools do offer that you can actually check out and see if it's in English. But most bachelors, like I said, they are all in Portuguese. And if you want to apply for any program in Portuguese in Portugal, and you know quite well that that program is in Portuguese, they will require Portuguese proficiency letter, so that they will be aware that you know how to speak and write Portuguese, so that when you are in class, it won't be an issue for you. For example, I have a friend who applied to a particular school here in Portugal. He applied. After like 3 days, the school mailed him informing him about the entrance exam, that he should come and write the entrance exam. And the entrance exam is actually in Portuguese. That is the funny thing. But to God be the glory. I advised the guy, I spoke to him, I told him, bro, you need to be aware. Then luckily for him, he wrote the exam. He passed. He passed the school cutoff mark. But unfortunately, he was not granted admission because there were people who scored higher than him in the entrance exam. That's one of the things that didn't grant that guy the admission. But he's looking to other schools right now. So this is one of the things you need to be aware. Then for masters, for someone who wants to go for masters, most of the schools here in Portugal, most of their masters are all in English. That's one of the things. Like most of the masters are in English, and they have good courses in masters that you can actually apply for. Then for BSc, you will notice for someone to study medicine, nursing, and all those medicine kind of courses, they're all taught in Portuguese. That's for bachelors. Then for MSc, there's some schools that do offer medicine courses in English for masters, but not all schools. So that's why most times that when someone comes to me, someone asks me a question, I'll ask you, are you going for MSc or for BSc? Because I know that getting admission in BSc schools is actually quite tough, but because of the criteria is involved. But for MScs, it's quite easier. All right. Now let's move to another question that people do ask. Is Portugal cheap? Well, I must say it's not cheap. It is relatively cheap if you understand what I mean. Because you can't use Portugal to compare to other countries with higher GDP. These countries like the Netherlands, Belgium, Sweden, Norway, Luxembourg, Denmark, Finland. You can't use Portugal to compare to these countries. For example, do you know how much is 1 year tuition fee in Finland? Do you know how much is 1 year tuition fee in Sweden? Do you know how much is tuition fee in Luxembourg or the Netherlands? Of course, you can't use Portugal to compare to these countries. Portugal is relatively cheap to live in. There's food, cheap transportation, then cheap rent. Though the rent is not that cheap, but at least it's something that you can actually manage to pay with and still live up. So it's not that cheap. Like most people say Portugal is cheap, move to Portugal. It's not that cheap. Though there is good weather here, but at the same time, it's a place you need to move to, like start a family, build your careers, maybe move somewhere else. It's all left to you. The next other question is, IELTS, is it needed? Well, it's not needed here in Portugal. If, let's say for example, someone who wants to go for MXCs, there's nothing like IELTS. Most schools will say, okay, show language proficiency letter, which I know that they don't even require it because as an international, for someone who wants to go for masters, all right, they already know that, okay, this program is already in English. So for someone who wants to apply, you must know how to speak English, both written and oral. It's only when it comes to bachelors that they need the Portuguese language certificate or the proficiency letter, just for them to be aware that you know how to speak Portuguese. Alright, so I believe with these questions that I've said now, most of you have gotten the answers you're looking for. Then when it comes to tuition fee is relatively cheap. Let me just use that word because some schools do charge from 4,000 euros, 7,000 euros. It depends, but you cannot use tuition fee in the Netherlands, in Ireland, in Finland compared to that of Portugal. And Portugal, they have instrumental payment feature, which everybody enjoys so much. That's one of the things that people are like, they love about Portugal. All right. So let's say, for example, your tuition fee is 5,000 euros. 5,000 euros divided into 10 months. That is 10 installments. 5,000 divided by 10. So each month you pay part of the tuition fee. And the good thing is, when you get admission, you pay your registration fee. Your registration fee can be like 150 euro, 100 euro. After you pay that the registration fee, then you pay your first installment of your tuition fee. If your tuition fee, let's say for example, for masters, if your tuition fee is 3,000 euros, your first installment is 10,000. Let's say your first your tuition fee is 3,000, then you are told to make payment of your first installment, which is 3,000 divided by 10. Then what is left there, that's your first installment. Then you start your visa application process, which is very, very good. Another thing I need to point out again is when it comes to legalization, when it comes to authentication, please take it very seriously. Don't be like, okay, I want to rush and make applications. You might make the applications, it might be in your favor. You might make the application, it will not be in your favor. Now, why am I saying this? Because most of the schools here in Portugal, they want to see legalized documents. You might make application to a particular school, then after like 3 days or 4 days, the school will mail you, please show us your legalized document that has the head apostle on it. And if you don't have it, that's an issue. Let's say, for example, somebody who still have his or her document in the Portuguese embassy waiting for legalization, we just went ahead with your school applications, and the school now is mailing you, asking you to provide a legalized copy of your document. And you inform the school that, okay, my process is ongoing, please give me some time. The school might give you like 1 week or 2 weeks. But after that time elapses, it's gone. The admission is gone because you did not meet the requirement. This is where I keep telling people, please make your own research. Take your time. Make your research very, very well. If you want to do this, just take your time and make sure that you do it right so that you get what you truly want. Then if you get admission, then you can actually move with family. People have asked this question so many times again. Can someone move with family with BSc or MSc? If you want my honest advice, I would say go for MSc. For MSc, you can work as a student. You can work up to 20 or to 40 hours. For example, let's say for somebody who is MSc, you might go to school once a week, or maybe twice a week, or maybe in the evening. It depends on your school schedule. Then you can actually work maybe part time, 20 hours. Let me not say 40 hours. Let me just say 20 hours. Then it is better for someone who is doing MSc. It's a little bit tough because you're probably going to school every day. For MSc, it's way easier to move with family. Then when it comes to moving with family, it's very, very easy to move with family. I would personally advise you make your visa applications together with your family, because I believe, let me just say, I believe you and your family have higher chance of getting the visa when you make the visa all together. Because the consular who evaluates the visa, who will look at the document, will see that, okay, you are the main applicant and these are your dependent, these are your accompanying spouse or your children who wants to move with you. He or she definitely will approve the visa for you guys. Then, let's say, for example, you have gotten the visa. Can you guys move together? Let's say family of 5 or 6 want to move here. The main applicant, that means the first person can choose to come here after like 2 months, then invite the others, or after like a month, after you have gotten the house, sort out things here, then you can bring in your family. Or if you're buoyant enough, you can bring everybody in. That's just my 2-cent advice in all these things. I believe with this I've said, I've given you guys a glance of answers to your questions that people keep asking all the time. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching once again. Please, if you find this video helpful, give it a thumbs up so that we push out people who are looking for video like this. And I appreciate you all my subscribers. I see your comments, I see what you guys are doing. I really appreciate you guys. So below this video description, you see a link to the Telegram community. Please join. We have amazing people there. Personally, I'm also there to answer questions. So if you have questions, drop it there. People are there to answer, and I'm also there to answer and support each other as we grow